So if you want to give online dating another go or have more success with your online dating, here's a few things that I would like you to think on. A lot of people are really off online dating. They're saying that it's wasting their time or it's dangerous. Everyone's got a nightmare story or, have had a bad date here and there. And look, I've heard some stories too. Look, I think it's just because people don't know how to date efficiently and safely on online platforms. So that's why I recorded this message for you, this little video, and hopefully it will be useful. And if it is, please drop a comment below. Dating apps are now the most common way that people meet their partners online in the world. Like that is the most common way that people are actually meeting partners at all. So not even meeting them in person organically. That is the most common way. All right. And over a quarter of online daters are actually interested in long-term relationships. There's so many myths that, I'd love to bust here. So many, because people think, that people are actually online are just there for a quick hookup. It's not true. There are genuine people looking for connection. Last year, there were 3.2 million users, right, on online dating apps in Australia alone, right? And that keeps growing every year. So, look, most people that are using these dating apps are between 25 and 35. Okay, but they are starting to now be there for the older demographic as well, who are starting to become a little bit more braver. And I'm hoping that this video will actually help you if you're in that age range where you think, oh, that's not really for me, because really there are a lot of people on there looking for genuine love. And look, also equally, there are 17% of people in Australia who have fallen prey to some kind of romantic scam, like a financial scam or some kind of catfish. So here are some of the things that you can do. I'm going to cover them in a bit on how to keep yourself safe. So there are so many platforms on which you can meet people online nowadays, but eHarmony and Tinder are still the most recognizable and popular platforms for Australians. Now, first and foremost, here are some safety tips, okay? Set up your profile with a name that you can't be identified from. So you don't put your first name and last name so someone can Google you and find you and track you down, because in the first instance, you don't know who's on there, right? So let's be safe. The second hint is always use your real age, because it will save you from a ton of awkward conversations in the future. Oh my God. My friend set up my Tinder account and now I can't change the age on it, and it's super awkward. Okay. Use realistic and recent photos. The biggest complaint I have from my clients is that they turned up and the person didn't look anything like that. But there is also another way that you can check that before you meet them. When you're writing your bio on the online dating profile, state it in the positive, things like I like and I want to meet and I enjoy, as opposed to don't contact me with this, or swipe left if you're not going to do this. Just state it in the positive. When you have matched with someone, have interesting conversations, asking questions, and be mindful of how much you're disclosing as well. Like, don't disclose too much personal information, such as your address or where you work, okay, or things that can be, easily identified. So to stay safe, right? These are the questions that it's actually okay to ask, right? What are you looking for on this app? Right? Like, what are you looking for in Tinder? What are you looking for in eHarmony? Where do you live? So don't ask the address, but maybe the area, okay? Do you have children? What do you do in your free time? Like, how do you spend your weekends? how long have you been on this app, or how long have you been single? Those are all okay. Are you a morning person or a night owl? Because you might find that somebody who doesn't go to sleep until 3 or 4 in the morning might not be a good match for you if you're a 6 a.m. starter or a 5 a.m. starter. You know, have you had much success on this app? And this is where you start to listen, right? Pay attention to how they speak about other dates. Okay. Some red flags would be, you know, putting other people down, insulting them, ridiculing them, saying like insulting bad things about people, right? Because that is just an indicator like, hey, let me tell you something, you're not so special, because if they're doing it to other people, they're going to do it to you. That's a red flag. Stay away from those people, especially people who put down their exes, ex-wives, or anyone that, you know, they think, you know, they start using derogatory language. Stay away. Green flags are things like, you know, look, I met a few people, they were nice enough, we just didn't have a connection, there wasn't any chemistry, I didn't see it going anywhere. That's fine. That kind of stuff is okay. All right. Now, there's a lot of catfishing going on, a lot of fake profiles, and that's what catfish is. Now, these profiles can sometimes show up as being close to you, but you won't know the details. They won't really know much detail about your local area. So you could ask them some really basic questions, but they wouldn't know that, the answers to that. So that can give you a little bit of information. If they're 1 kilometer away, how do they not know what the local cinema is called? Or, you know, what the weather's like? There's just a few things that, you know, if there was a hailstorm, for instance, right? They may not have that on a weather report if they're doing that from overseas. And some of the other things that will indicate that you're being catfished is if they're losing track of stories, what they've told you. So for instance, I was once talking to this guy who said, this is the time during lockdown, he said he had been in the country for 3 weeks and he was out of quarantine. And there was a picture on his profile of his daughter's 9-year-old birthday party. And I said, oh, when's her birthday? And he said, last week. And I said, oh, is she in Australia then? And he said, no, she's in the States. So it didn't add up, because he would have had to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. He said 3 weeks, and just the timelines didn't add or match up. And sometimes these people can lose track of what they've told you. So if in doubt, some apps actually allow you to do a quick video call to check it's a real person. All right. You can have a phone call, right, if you feel that you want to, just to be safe before you meet them. And sometimes the accent doesn't actually match the photo or profile. So for example, if someone is saying that they're from California, or say they're saying they're from Europe, from Germany, and then they have a thick Jamaican accent, it just probably, like, there's a little disconnect here, right? So just pay attention to these kind of things and be smart. They you know, they're very flattering, and that's why a lot of people do get some romantic scams and sometimes even financial scams. To save time and money, you know, dressing up, getting a babysitter, getting a taxi, paying for drinks, paying for dinner, only to realize there's no attraction or chemistry, there's a few things you can do beforehand, okay? 1, chat as above, okay, as I've indicated above, like have that trail of conversation, and just ensure that they're responsive and they're respectful. So respectful to others and respectful to you, okay? If you're curious and the chat does progress to a suggested meetup, I would say have a phone call first, okay? A phone call is really a beautiful way to know if you actually have a connection. And actually sometimes people's voices can be really off-putting. I once spoke to a guy who had a really squeaky voice, and I just understood that there's no way that we would have anything in common and be attracted anyway. So yeah, we didn't catch up. The other thing that I use is WhatsApp, and I know that a lot of people use a lot of different apps. I won't go into it very deeply here. The reason I get on WhatsApp is because you can exchange more photos, and that will actually let you know whether they're going to drop in appropriate photos, their unsolicited nude photos, or ask you for nude photos, which I strongly suggest you don't share. If you allow the person to add you, their full name will show up. So that's actually an advantage for you. So yes, you can Google them, but be safe. All right. Note, you know, a few little things like, what does their profile picture look like? Does that look really similar to their pictures online? So if we were using Tinder as an example, do their Tinder photos match what their WhatsApp profile photo looks like? Now, if you feel safe and you're interested, so go ahead, arrange to meet in a public place, all right? Tell someone where you're going. So tell one of your friends where you're going, who you're going to meet, and give them the number of the person and any information about their profile, just send them some screenshots of the person that you're going to meet and where you're going to meet them. Like I said, don't ever get them to pick you up from home. So don't give them your address or where you work, just in case it just doesn't work out, right? In the first instance, meet somewhere for a short meeting so you can leave if there isn't anything, anything there between you. Always arrange your own transport there and how to get home. I can't stress this enough. Get your own way there and make sure you have your own way home. There are so many people that get stuck in a bad situation, in a bad date, because they are relying on the other person to bring them back home. All right. Do not get overly drunk or smashed or high or whatever you want to call it. Just keep yourself composed until you know that this person is a trustworthy person. This may also be obvious. You do not have to hug or kiss or sleep with your date just because he or she has paid for a nice dinner for you or drinks tonight. You don't owe them anything. It's just a date, right? And if you feel more comfortable, pay your way, right? That's what I would say. But plenty of people, especially women, tell me that they didn't feel right, not sleeping with them. You don't have to sleep with them. Don't sleep with them, in fact. Okay. The other point is, if you do choose to sleep with them, make sure you follow a few safety tips here, because STIs are always an issue. But there are 2 pregnancies a day in the local family health clinics, just a community health center, that were unwanted pregnancies from online dates. 2 a day just down the road. So you can imagine that number around the world. There's a real rising case of STIs because men don't like to wear, let's just say, protection, because I don't want this video to get banned. And there are stories like, I haven't been with anyone for 5 years, or I haven't been with anyone since my wife. So just be a bit smart and switched on, and the same, equally with men, be a bit smart when it comes to women who you may feel are taking advantage of you. All right. So going forward, if you want to see your date again, it's okay to contact them. Doesn't matter. You don't have to wait for a guy to contact you. You can contact them. It's fine. Let them know you're interested. It's completely okay. So it's still statistically proven that there's a better chance of someone wanting to see you again if you didn't sleep with them on the first night. This is a statistic. I just weighed it anyway. It's not okay to obsessively call and text and pester someone. If they're not responding to you, they're just not interested. Just get it, right? Just stop it. And if you are the one that is getting hassled with phone calls, texts, and being pestered, then just go ahead and block them, right? You can do that on WhatsApp really easily. You can do that on your phone really easily, okay? Now, if they try to call you in an unidentified number, or they try and call you, you don't have to take the call, okay? This is a whole other training about boundaries. I go into this way, way, way deeper in my program, but just for now, look, just understand that you can be respectful. You can let them know that you're not interested. And if they keep on asking you questions, or asking you to stay in touch or meet them again or explain. Don't engage in long text message exchanges. Don't have all these phone calls. You don't have to take them. And yeah, if they become a pest, then you can go ahead and block them. Now, a lot of people say to me, well, what if I'm feeling scared? What if I'm feeling really nervous and scared about going online? Or I keep messing up my relationships, and what if this messes up too? Well, then come along to one of my 5-day free trainings. You'll learn a lot about yourself there. Or just inquire about my program. But just chat me if you're interested. I'm always happy to have a talk with anyone about any of this stuff. There's a whole world out there that you're not, allowing yourself to enjoy if you've just shut off to online. You just have to be safe and efficient, okay?